Number 10, the psychedelic revolution. Imagine a caveman thousands of years ago wandering through a forest. He sees a weird mushroom, eats it on a dare from his buddy, and suddenly the entire world explodes into a kaleidoscope of colors. He's not crazy. He just stumbled onto a magic mushroom, and his brain is now flooded with psilocybin, a compound that's structurally similar to serotonin, the body's natural mood regulator. This isn't just a fun trip. It's a mind-altering experience that might have changed the course of human history. Terence McKenna, a famous ethnobotanist, proposed the stoned ape theory, suggesting that the consumption of psychedelic mushrooms was a key driver in the evolution of human consciousness. These early humans, with their brains suddenly rewired to see patterns and connections they never saw before, might have developed abstract thought, language, and art. It's a wild idea, but it's not entirely a joke. Fungi might have been the original mind-expanding tech, a biological supercomputer that gave our ancestors a kickstart into becoming the abstract thinking, storytelling weirdos we are today. Number 9, the bread that built empires. You probably think of bread as a simple food, flour, water, maybe some salt. But the humble loaf of bread is a testament to the power of a tiny, single-celled fungus, yeast. For thousands of years, humans relied on wild yeast to ferment their dough, creating a lighter, more digestible food source. The ability to make bread on a massive scale led to stable food supplies, which allowed ancient civilizations to settle down, form cities, and eventually build empires. Without a reliable way to leaven bread, societies might have remained nomadic, constantly searching for their next meal. Yeast also helped us discover beer. Ancient Egyptians and Babylonians brewed beer thousands of years ago, not just for a good buzz, but as a source of clean, safe calories. Water was often contaminated, but the brewing process purified it, making beer a staple of daily life. So next time you have a sandwich, remember, you're eating a meal made possible by a fungus that literally helped civilize us. Number 8, the plague that saved us. When you hear the word plague, you probably think of something bad, like the bubonic plague. But one of the most important plagues in history was caused by a fungus, and it might have saved millions of lives. Back in the day, before we had refrigeration, people relied on grains to survive the winter. But grains were often stored in damp conditions, perfect for a fungus called ergot to grow. This fungus, when consumed, could cause a terrifying disease called St. Anthony's fire, which led to gangrene, convulsions, and even hallucinations. Imagine entire towns going mad from a bad loaf of bread. But from this horrifying affliction came an incredible discovery. Scientists studying ergot in the 20th century isolated a compound that would become the basis for LSD, a psychedelic drug that would go on to shape a counterculture movement. More importantly, they also created drugs to treat migraines, a medical marvel that came from a fungal nightmare. Number 7, the fungus that feeds the future. You've probably seen documentaries about the end of the world, where some kind of killer fungus takes over. But what if a fungus is our best bet for a brighter future? The world is facing a growing food crisis, and traditional farming methods are putting a massive strain on our planet's resources. Enter mycoprotein, a sustainable, protein-rich food source made from a fungus. It's not a new invention. It's been around since the 1960s. Think of it as a superfood that can grow on agricultural waste, turning something useless into something nutritious. It's an incredibly efficient way to produce protein, requiring far less land, water, and energy than raising livestock. In a future where we need to feed billions of people, mycoprotein could be a game changer, a biological solution to a very human problem. So while Hollywood loves to show fungi as the bad guy, the truth is, a fungus might just be what saves us from ourselves. Number 6, the fungus that saved millions. You get a paper cut, and you barely think about it, but 100 years ago, a paper cut could be a death sentence. Before the discovery of antibiotics, a simple bacterial infection could lead to gangrene, amputation, or worse. The invention of penicillin, a life-saving antibiotic, is a story of serendipity and a lazy scientist. In 1928, Alexander Fleming, a Scottish bacteriologist, left a petri dish of Staphylococcus bacteria uncovered. When he came back from vacation, he noticed that a mold, a kind of fungus, had grown on the dish, and more importantly, it was killing the bacteria around it. That mold, a strain of Penicillium, would go on to become the world's first antibiotic, saving millions of lives in wars and hospitals. It was a massive leap forward for medicine, and it all came from a tiny bit of mold that would have otherwise been tossed in the trash. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking discoveries come from the things we're about to throw away. Number 5. The fungus that hacked your coffee. Your morning coffee isn't just a drink. It's a meticulously crafted experience made possible by a fungus. The rich aroma, the subtle bitterness, the complex flavors, they all come from a process that involves fungi. Coffee beans are actually the seeds of the coffee plant, and to get them ready for roasting, they have to be fermented. This fermentation is a controlled process that uses a variety of microorganisms, including fungi and yeast, to break down the sugars in the coffee bean, giving it its distinctive flavor. This process is so crucial that a single mistake can ruin an entire batch. It's also how we get chocolate from cacao beans. Fungi, specifically yeasts, break down the sugary pulp surrounding the beans, and this starts a chemical reaction that creates the complex flavor we know and love. So the next time you enjoy a good cup of coffee or a piece of chocolate, remember that you're enjoying a treat made possible by a humble fungus. Number 4. The fungus that powers your car. You probably think of gas or electricity when you think of fuel, but there's a secret, fungal-powered alternative. Ethanol, a key component of biofuel, is created through a fermentation process that's dominated by a familiar single-celled fungus, yeast. This is the same stuff that makes your bread rise and ferments your beer. Yeast can eat up sugar from plants like corn or sugarcane and turn it into alcohol, which can then be used to power our cars. It's a remarkably efficient process that has been used for thousands of years, and now it's helping us move away from fossil fuels. Biofuels, while not a perfect solution, are an important step towards a more sustainable future. And it's all thanks to a tiny fungus doing what it does best. So, the next time you see a gas pump with a biofuel label, remember that it's powered by the same humble organism that makes your morning toast delicious. Number 3. The fungus that's hiding in your house. Imagine this. You're sitting on your couch, totally unaware that your house is a sprawling, interconnected network of fungal life. Fungi are everywhere, and they are constantly interacting with our environment in ways we don't even think about. They are in the air we breathe, the soil we walk on, and the food we eat. Some fungi, like those in your walls, can be harmful and cause allergies or respiratory problems, but most of them are busy breaking down organic matter, cleaning up our messes, and creating the soil that grows our food. Think of fungi as the planet's cleanup crew, constantly recycling nutrients and making the world habitable. So the next time you see a spot of mold on your cheese, don't just see a spoiled snack. See a powerful, silent force that is constantly working behind the scenes to keep our planet going. Number 2. The fungus that gave us life. Life on Earth is more interconnected than you can imagine, and a lot of that interconnectedness is thanks to a vast invisible network of fungi. Underground, fungal filaments called mycelium form a massive web that connects plants and trees, acting as a kind of biological internet. This network, often called the wood wide web, allows trees to share nutrients, water, and even communicate with each other. If one tree is being attacked by a pest, it can send a chemical signal through the mycelial network to warn the other trees. This symbiotic relationship between fungi and plants is believed to have been a key factor in the evolution of life on land. Without fungi, the first plants might not have been able to get the nutrients they needed to survive on dry land. Fungi were the original matchmakers, helping to create the forests and ecosystems that we now call home. Number 1. The fungus that could end us. We've talked a lot about all the good things fungi have done for us, but it wouldn't be a complete story without talking about the biggest threat they pose. You've heard of bacterial resistance, but what about fungal resistance? Scientists are growing increasingly concerned about a fungus called Candida auris, or C. auris. This fungus is a serious, often drug-resistant pathogen that can cause severe infections and has a high mortality rate. Unlike bacteria, fungi are eukaryotes, just like us. This means their cells are much more similar to ours, making them much harder to treat. Many antifungal drugs that work on fungi also end up harming our own cells, and climate change is making things worse. As temperatures rise, fungi that were once only able to survive in colder climates are adapting to warmer temperatures, including the temperature of the human body. This means that new, potentially deadly fungal pathogens could emerge, posing a threat that our current medical systems are completely unprepared for. So while fungi might have helped create our world, they could also be the thing that ultimately brings it to its knees. It's a terrifying thought, but it's a very real one.